Lesson 1-9, Powers and Laws of Exponents. In this video, we're going to review what a power is and then a few of the laws of exponents. So first, let's look at some vocabulary words. Here we got exponent. An exponent is just a number that tells you how many times a base is used as a factor. And the base is going to be, so in other words, you could say the base is the factor. If we look at this example right here, we have 2 to the third power. So 2 is the base, 3 is the exponent. So that means our 2 is going to be used as a factor 3 times. So we can write this, right now it's in exponential form. We can also write it in factored form. We could also write it in standard form. In factored form, this would be rewritten as 2 times 2 times 2. This is also repeated multiplication, but that's a longer way of writing that. A more simplified way would be writing it in exponential form, which is the base and the exponent, which is what you see here. It's also known as the power, which means it's the number written with an exponent. So 2 to the third power, this whole thing would be considered a power. It's also exponential form. Now, if you were to put it in standard form, you would just simplify what is 2 to the third power. 2 to the third power would give us 8. So now let's take a look at some examples. Here we're going to write each expression below in simplest exponential form. So right now it's in factored form. So we can see that we have 3 being used as a factor. So that's going to be our base. And we see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3s. So that'd be 3 to the 5th power. Next, we have 6 times 6 times 6 times 7 times 7. Here we have 2 bases. We have a base of 6 and we have a base of 7. So we have 3 6s, so that'd be 6 to the 3rd power times 7 to the 2nd power. So that would be in simplest exponential form. Next, we have a base of 2. So we have 2 here, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 2s. So that means our exponent would be 8. So that would be 2 to the 8th power. This next one, we have 2 bases. One of them is -4, and that's written twice. And it'd be times base of 5. And there are 3 of those. So that would be an exponent of 3 on the base of 5. This next one, we have 6 times 7 times 7. Here we have a base of 6, but there's just 1. So you can either put the 1 down or you can just leave it as 6. This would be times. I have a base of 7, and there are 3 7s. Next, we have -1 as a base. And there's 2 of those. And then we have a base of -2. And there's 1 of those, and we have a base of -3, and there are 2 of those. So that would be simplest exponential form. Now, what about some of the laws of exponents? A couple of the laws of exponents we're going to be looking today is the product rule and the quotient rule. The product rule of exponentials say if you multiply 2 like bases, you're going to be adding the exponents. And for the quotient rule, or the division rule of exponents says if you're dividing like bases, you're going to subtract the exponents. And the other rule that we're going to be looking at is the zero rule of exponents, which just says that any base raised to the 0 power is always equal to 1, except for the base can never be 0. So let's take a look at some examples. Here we're going to write each expression in factored form and then simplify it. So here, 4 to the 3rd power just means 4 times 4 times 4. And 4 to the 3rd power is the same as 4 times 4 times 4, which is the same thing as saying 64. Now, you could use your calculator if you need to. So if I grab my calculator here, and if I would do 4 raised to the 3rd power, there you can see it's 64. This next one, we have 2 to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Next, 10 to the 9th divided by 10 to the 5th. So here, if we're dividing like bases, we're going to be subtracting the exponents. So that's 9 minus 5, which is going to give us 10 to the 4th power. And 10 to the 4th power is going to be 10,000. Next, we have 5 to the 1st times 5 to the 3rd. Since I'm multiplying like bases, I add the exponents. So 1 plus 3 is 4. So 5 to the 4th power would be 625, because I could break down as 5 squared is 25, and another 5 squared is 25, and 25 times 25 is 625. Now here I'm just using the rules of exponents instead of just writing everything out as in factored form, because that would be a lot of repeated multiplication. But that is your lesson on powers and laws of exponents.